So I was talking to somebody earlier today, and they were sharing with me some things that they're walking through, how their story shifted like overnight. Everything changed. It's just like their life was flipped upside down. Ever been there? And they don't understand. They're confused. They can't make sense of it. And it reminded me, and I began to talk to this person. It reminded me of something I went through 10 years ago, which is crazy to say that it's been that long, but I was there. That was me. I had a situation. I was so confused when I came out of this situation, because I thought that it was from the Lord. I thought that God had sent me something in my life that I had been praying about for so long, and everything that was taking place during this, it looked like God was blessing it, even to the smallest of details. It was like God's hand was in it. And well, I can just go ahead and be blunt with it. I was in a relationship, and I was with a guy who claimed to be a preacher and things like that. I used to say things and not use wisdom like I should have. I used to tell way too much. But I will say, any Christian girl that wants a relationship, you're going to desire, a companion who is on fire for the Lord. And if you're ministry minded, you want somebody who's also ministry minded, So all the things that I was praying for, well, in one day walked into my life, and things began to take place, and I thought, this is from the Lord. I was so focused in on how much it was from the Lord, like, wow, everything was happening so quick, and, I had prayed for so long, and, I just thought, this is finally it, this is it. And, but where I was up close to it, I could not see some things that were going on, and thank God I had a praying mama. Thank God I had a praying mama who fasted and prayed for me when she knew something was off. She didn't know what it was exactly, but she knew God revealed things through a person. Anyway, I won't get into all that, but and it wasn't me who walked out. I say this all the time. Now, thankfully, I'm so thankful for this. But at the time, a blinded girl who could only see so much, I didn't walk out of that. I say this often, but Jesus himself ended that. And I know that may sound silly, but it took some major events taking place for God to get me away from what could have destroyed me. On the outside, things looked good. On the outside, things looked spiritual, and I thought that it was everything that I wanted, and things that were on my list, just about, many things, I should say. But I could not see the red flags, and I won't get into all the red flags that there were, but so when some things began to be exposed, and I was heartbroken, couldn't trust anybody, and things started coming to an end, more people began to rise up and speak out regarding this situation that I was in. I was warned from the beginning, but I just thought people were just being judgmental. You ever been there? I thought people just didn't want me happy. I was thinking, you don't know them like I know. Well, you don't know him like I know him, that stuff. I always think you know a person better. Maybe they're just jealous. Maybe they don't like it because you're getting blessed before they. All these things that can go through your mind, But when these things started coming to an end, it took me a very long time to process. And it didn't happen overnight. And if you'll hang with me, I'm going to tell you something. I remember so many emotions that I experienced through this situation. I remember wanting to run away. I remember locking myself in my room, just isolating myself from people. I remember asking the Lord to take me out. Like, I couldn't handle the pain. I wanted to knock myself out. You're talking about, I was in a bad shape, mentally, emotionally. I was damaged. spiritually damaged because of a person that claimed to represent the Lord, somebody that I was going to marry, I thought, that I was going to submit to. All those things, I was damaged. But here's what I wanted to say, is that even though it took me a little while to heal, I prayed and I prayed and things did not make sense. I'm like, Lord, why did you let this happen if it really wasn't from you? Like, what was the purpose out of all this? I thought this was you. I thought this was you. All this stuff. And I actually made a video years ago about this, and I came across it today. And what I shared, it was very fresh at the time after this situation, but I shared how I was just real with God, and how I had to come to terms with being okay for me not to know the answer to everything, for me not to know the why. It's okay. I know some people say don't question God. I think it's okay. The Son of God said, God, why hast thou forsaken me? And my husband has shared that often. But when it gets, here's where it gets dangerous, is when we not only question why, but when we want to go investigate why. We want to know the details. We want to look under a lens and a microscope and dissect situation and replay it in our mind and try to go back and calculate, where did we go wrong? What happened? That's when it becomes dangerous to question why. Sometimes, I just felt to get on here and say this to somebody, sometimes we have to be okay with not knowing the answer. We have to be okay with just continuing to walk by faith. Now, yes, I do see things clearer now. 10 years later, thank God. Thank God. And I'm thankful that even when I don't understand, though, I can hold on to that scripture, Romans 8:28, that, listen, when we love Him and are called according to His purpose, He's going to cause all things to work together for the good of them to love Him, that love Him. It can drive us crazy if we ourselves are trying to figure out why. Sometimes we've just got to surrender and give up the fight of trying to figure things out. Because the enemy wants us to dwell on things that will keep us bound in a situation, in certain mindsets. The enemy wants to keep us bound in those things, instead of us just trusting that God's going to bring good out of it, that growth will come from this. I'm telling you what, I couldn't see my little skinny self back then. I couldn't see down the road. I didn't know, I was sharing with my friend earlier today, I didn't know that 1 year later, just shortly after this situation, that I would end up married later on the next year. I had no idea. And, and I'm not telling you that that's always going to happen like that. I don't know God's timing and His plan for your life. But I want to encourage somebody today that a lot can happen in a short amount of time. A lot of things can change in a short amount of time. And I just want to encourage somebody to trust the Lord. Give Him your hurts. Give Him your questions and leave it there. Don't try to investigate. Leave them alone. Don't try to just you get where I'm going with this. Trust the Lord, because a lot can happen in a short amount of time. I know people have shared it before, but just like Jesus being crucified and then buried and then resurrected. It can happen in 3 days. We've heard that before. But the same applies to us. And that same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead shall quicken our mortal bodies. I'm telling you, a lot can happen in a short amount of time.